and the people have changed, right?
Yeah, no, it's a new world. It reminds you of 2008 to 2011,
Yes.
where the whole world had to readjust. But this is
Yeah.
the supply chain was empty back then. It wasn't broken. Right now, it's just plain broken.
It's good.
It'll take time.
Yeah, 100% yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and Gary is a very smart businessman. He's in the tools business, hand tools. And gosh, you were mentioning your lead times there, Gary. Are you still sourcing from Taiwan?
Yep, Taiwan, China, all over the world. Turkey, India,
Okay.
Italy. Yeah, we buy tools from all over the world.
Oh, wow.
And they're all under strain.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, it's a trying time, but our customer base is very considerate. They know that we're just one of every industry is going through it. And inflation, we're getting hit with price increases of 30%. Steel's up 30% to 50%. Packaging's doubled in many areas.
Oh, wow.
So inflation is coming. It may be short term, but it's coming.
Well, then the business have to prepare for that also as well, just in the case, right?
Yeah, which is difficult because like we get a price increase notification every week from somebody else in the world. It's just so we're putting an emergency price increase through in September, but it's almost impossible to figure out what to put in.
100%.
We don't know.
Wow.
But we'll get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got a good crowd here today. We expect Brandon Steele to join us, Kirk, and we've got a few reps from the city as well. They're very interested in close connection with you, Jog, as you know, and cybersecurity, etc. And we've got some intermediaries as well. Paresh is from Scotiabank, and we've got Vision Transportation System as well. It's a really good mix of folks here today.
Yeah. No, that's great. Excellent. Yeah, looking forward to it. And also, I'll be in town in end of this month for a week. So, just in the case if we needed to be, we can also make face-to-face connections at that time. I had a couple of things that go. This is my first visit after about 9 months. because when I came in here, Gary, in October of last year, so thinking that we back in November, December just with the for Christmas and holidays, but the way that things didn't work out, and so looking forward to that. There's quite a few meetings that we were going to do.
Very good, very good. Sorry, we're trying to get everybody into the meeting here today. Sure. They're coming in. Go. There's Kirk. Welcome, Kirk. How are you this morning? Good. We got you on mute. So glad you could make it, though. And there's mute buttons on the bottom left-hand side if you need to speak.
There we go.
There we go. How are you this morning?
You know, it's funny. Sometimes they open up and it's like full screen. This one this morning is a small screen. I'm like, yeah, okay. Technology. No two times are the same, right?
They're just trying to make our life a little interesting, aren't they?
Exactly.
More interesting. Yeah.
There we go. We got lots of people joining now.
Oh,
Parkesh is going to try again on a different device.
Okay.
So he's going to keep trying.
That's great.
Morning, and Heather's here. I'm on my phone for audio, but I'm gonna jump on the computer for video.
Oh, great, Heather.
Perfect.
Well,
Thanks, Heather.
so Kirk, we may talk about it in the meeting today, but I'm curious, how are things going with your client in Maryland?
It's going really well. We're actually we probably will be back down there in 2 to 3 weeks for we've got the contract in front of us now. And if you can appreciate these things are massive and they're somewhat concerning sometimes, but pretty exciting right now. So yeah.
Oh, Kirk, I'm so happy to hear
great.
that. So happy you could spend time today to meet Jog as well, because in times that are uncertain, it's good to have friends like Jog when you're trying to do some business with the States. So that's great.
That's great.
to have you here today. Yeah.
Good morning, Kirk. Hey, brother. Good morning.
Morning, Jag. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
It's good to see you at a BBOT panel discussion.
Excellent. That's what I was telling Todd. This is my second home.
Your original love.
Yes, exactly. That's where my 32 years in Canada are.
I know we're excited to see you here.
Not only your home, Jog, but you have found many people their homes when you worked here in Brampton as well,
yeah.
and they're appreciative of that. Your career in real estate. So
Yeah,
very
definitely.
good. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I look
There we
forward.
go.
Oh, go ahead.
So there we go. We got Parkesh now.
Oh, that's great. Welcome, Paresh. We'll just wait a couple more minutes before we get
Sure.
everybody on board. Crystal has joined us from Absolute Change Management, a firm that is helping manufacturers with their knowledge transfer. Heather has joined us from Deloitte. We've got Kirk with Brandon Steele. Just looking at a few others. Jayesh has joined us. Jayesh is with. I have my list here on two different pieces. Jayesh, remind us, which company are you with?
I believe it's from the city of Brampton.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Welcome. And we've got other representatives from the city here as well, or expected to arrive. Amanda is here. Welcome, Amanda. And I see Patricia is here. Is Patricia with the city as well?
Hi, good morning. No, I'm not. I'm actually a researcher at Wilfrid Laurier University. I had the pleasure of meeting Jag. Hi, Jag. Nice to see you. And I am from Brampton originally, but I study our trade relations with the United States and the role that the provinces play. So Jennifer was kind enough to let me sit in this morning and listen in on the important work that Jag is doing.
Patricia,
I
welcome.
hope that's okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
welcome.
morning, Patricia. It's such a great pleasure to see you again.
Nice to see you. Nice
Yeah.
to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Welcome, Patricia. Laurier, of course, plays a very important role in logistics in our area. And you're doing some expansion into the Milton area. And so it's great that you could join us today. Thank you for that.
I believe Shauna McMillan, Todd, is going to be joining. She joined and dropped off. So if we could maybe take a couple minutes and then we can probably start.
All right.
Sure.
Sounds good.
By the way, Lorraine, I should say congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Badar. Thank you so much.
I got to tell you, it was so funny last night. I got an invite from the Turkish Consul General to attend the screening of a Turkish movie, and it was at a drive-through at Ontario Place, and it was sponsored by Lavazza.
Lavazza, yeah.
And then the owners of Lavazza and the organizers of the whole drive-through were the only two Italians at the event, and oh my God, it was a lot of fun.
I bet it was. Yeah, it was a night to celebrate last night.
Drive
Now the
through-
nerves start for Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, but a drive-through is coming back quite a bit in here too, especially under these times. We just through Consulate, we did celebrate Canada Day, and it was just drive-through a movie, sit in the car and watch.
You see, and those are the kind of nuggets we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
As a portfolio manager, I get to see what's happening in the blue chip companies and the large caps in Houston and elsewhere in the United States. But we don't get to see what's happening in the small to medium size space and the private equity space. So you're our ears and eyes there, looking forward to actually learning more about all of that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Very good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I see that we're about 8:07 and almost everyone that is registered is on the call. We've got quite a diversity of companies and sectors represented. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce Jog Badwal. He is Ontario's Agent General in Dallas. He was appointed by the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, to strengthen trade and investment between Ontario and the southern United States. He's going to tell us a little bit more about the geographic regions under his jurisdiction. It is quite vast. He is a graduate of the York University in Toronto and has over 2 decades of sales and marketing experience in the private sector, in real estate. Jag has worked with elected officials both at the provincial and federal levels, delivering positive impact in communities. Notably, he was president of the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario in 2018, after serving many years as a regional vice president. He's a firm believer in giving back to the community. Brampton is his second home to Dallas now, and he has served as a board member of Ontario's Peel Region Children's Aid Societies and has volunteered for bereaved families of Ontario. In 2017, he received Ontario's Volunteer Service Award for his years of dedication to community service. He's married and is the proud father of 2. Funny story, I'm celebrating this fall 7 years with the Brampton Board of Trade, and Jog was one of the first people I met back in 2014. He helped introduce me to Bal Ghazal, at the time. I was a federal MP. And as we were leaving the meeting with Mr. Ghazal, Jog said to me, Todd, I'd like to introduce you to Patrick Brown. I was unfamiliar with the name Patrick Brown at the time, and Jog said, you'll hear a lot about him very, very soon. And he's very correct. So my point in that meeting is in that story is that Jog is a connector. And he is just perfectly fit for this job. The Premier was very wise in appointing him to it. He loves Brampton and is so well connected. Jog, welcome. We're so happy that you're able to join us here today.
Thank you so much, Todd, for your kind introduction. It's such a great pleasure to meet each and everyone, although it's virtual. But it's such a great pleasure, and I've seen some familiar faces, but we'll get to know the rest of you also as well. And before we joined, I was telling Todd, I said I will be in Ontario at the end of this month for a week. And if the time permits, then we may grab a cup of coffee and chat a little bit more detail face to face. So what I will do is I will, Lorraine, can I share my screen? All right, okay. Can you see my screen? Great. Thank you very much. It's such a great pleasure, to be with you. And I'm just going to give you an overview of, first of all, about our office, what our office does, and then dive a little bit more information into our region, and also talk about a couple of, what are the linkages are with Ontario, what are the sectors are that are emerging, so also the trade numbers that we're looking at, bilateral relations and the trade relations between the jurisdictions. Just to quickly talk about what we do, what our office does. I will go to point number 2. Our first job is a really important one, is to help promote exports from Ontario into our jurisdictions. And the second thing that another important part of our mandate is to help attract FDI into Ontario, and especially into advanced manufacturing and trade and investment side also. The third thing that we also talking about is facilitate research and innovations. What does that mean is research and development, connecting universities with each other so that not only the student exchange can happen, but also research and innovation can take place. And we are actually trying very hard to make those connections. And some of them we have succeeded, but because of the COVID, we can't meet in person. So we're still working on those relations. And I will also say that Government of Ontario just also have created another agency. It's called Invest Ontario. And if you needed more information, I'll give you that information also. And through that Invest Ontario, we have about a $400 million Invest Ontario fund to attract foreign FDI throughout the world. Our jurisdictions include the regions is Florida, Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Mississippi, and Arkansas. They're really a big jurisdiction, and we are a team of 4. We are co-located within the Canadian Consulate here in Dallas, Texas, and we work very collaboratively with federal trade commissioners, which we'll dive into a little bit later on. Just for a quick second, let me just, yeah, much better.
Very good.
Yeah. So what we do, let me just go back in there. And but what we do is also, as I said, we also collaborate very with our federal trade commissioners as well. And some of these things that what we do because of the COVID is not face-to-face conversations haven't happened yet, but we still do B2B meetings. We arrange the meetings and we transfer information with each other just to make sure that the information flow is there, and then look at the companies that if they're looking for information, then we have to provide them in a timely fashion. Also, especially from the Government of Ontario, our export growth branch, they do a lot of work for export side of from Ontario. If you're an Ontario company looking to export outside, so they are doing a lot of work. And first thing that I will say is that export preparation is the key part of it. The NEBS program, that is really good. It's called New Exporters to the Borders program. They have launched that. Under that, you also have the region-specific webinars and the industry-specific webinars that we arrange also as well. Not only that, they also help with the e-commerce web preparation and webinars, but also the pitch preparation, just in the case if there is a new company, if you're looking into a pitch preparation. So they are also help with that as well. We also do a lot of export business mission. Give you an example, we just did a virtual mission in here on IT side with airport, Dallas Airport. So we had about 8 or 9 different Ontario companies to pitch for business for Dallas Airport, and then the airport make a decision as to who they want to deal with. So these are the kind of missions we also do. We're also planning, as we gear up the borders open for the buyers delegation, we are planning to have ministers here and the trade missions here, hopefully in the third quarter, but we are just waiting for more information on the borders issue. And so there's quite a lot of that will happen. And if you needed a further information, just let me know. But export grant growth branch from ministry is really a key part and a key player with us. So when we talk about Ontario, a lot of time the companies in here, okay, so what's Ontario? What's the value proposition? I will touch only a couple of things in here, but the first thing that we always talk about is the energy side of it. It's the clean energy. They are most of the time when looking at advanced manufacturing, they always ask, okay, where's your energy come from? So I can just say that 95% of our energy in Ontario is clean energy. And so that is really either is nuclear or is wind, is solar, and 95% of our energy is very clean. And then the ecosystem that we are talking about, thriving ecosystem, we always say research and development is pretty low in comparative to other jurisdictions in Ontario. But I would say the sector like electric vehicle and the clean tech clusters are really a key part of it. As the government of Ontario just released a discussion paper on critical minerals, and there is a lot of demand that's coming from the US side into the mining sector on that. So that is really a key part of it that just keep in mind that, and not only that, we have all the 5 auto manufacturers who are in Ontario have invested almost over about $6 billion into EV and battery operations. Battery is not going to go anywhere if you don't have critical minerals. So Ontario, we will have the policy development, and it's a discussion paper by fall. We will have all the information. At this time, the supply chain, most of that is coming from China. Just as I said, our jurisdiction, this is give you an idea about our trade and investment within our region. So when you look at it, Florida and Texas in our region, these both states are $1 trillion economy. Texas economy is over 1.7 trillion. That's even bigger than the Canadian economy is. This is a country in its own. Their economy is 9th largest in the world. So our trade with Texas, even during the COVID, had increased by 2.75%. And so that tells you a lot about resiliency and connectivity within our region. And Florida is definitely another key state for us. Is a lot of tourism that's happening in there. But when you look at even Florida, Tennessee is really the second largest trade and investment happening, a bilateral trade. The reason for being is Tennessee is becoming really a key player in auto manufacturing. And because Tesla Gigafactory opened in Texas, so there is a lot of spillover of manufacturing and other trade and investment are happening in Tennessee. So I'm going to dive a little bit more into some of the sectors, where the sectors are. So when you look at in a region, Alabama is aerospace and aviation is really a big factor because of Airbus. And they're also coming very strong in bioscience also as well, because we know that the pharmaceutical and biosector in Brampton is pretty strong. So that is a second and Alabama is doing a lot of work on attracting businesses, and also we have a great relationship with Alabama, and they are really coming out on all full cylinders on different parts of their economy, and they are really open to have trade and investment from different regions. Then we look into Arkansas. When you look at our region in Arkansas, we have Walmart headquarters is in Arkansas. We have Tyson Food headquarters in Arkansas, because in Brampton, food and beverage sector is really big. And that is really a big one in these two sectors. And third thing, that J.B. Hunt on transportation and logistics is also their headquarters in there. So Arkansas is really a key state for us, and because of these businesses there. And then we look into Florida and Louisiana. Florida is aviation and aerospace 100%. They're moving really big into clean tech also. As you know, there's a lot of businesses are moving from companies moving from New York, from California. So where are they going? They're going either to Florida or they're coming to Texas. So we'll talk more into when we come to Texas also as well. Another one, IT, information technology, and life sciences are also becoming really big in Florida as well. I was in Florida about a month ago, to develop those relationships and just to dive into some of those sector-specific information and meet with the people. So Florida is coming out in the IT side is really big way. And then Louisiana, there's a lot of sectors that combine with the interior, especially in agribusiness and automotive side of that. Mississippi and Oklahoma, yes, there are quite a lot of healthcare and tourism and film industry is pretty big in there. And the IT industry is really becoming big. And in Oklahoma, is manufacturing and renewable energy is becoming really a big sectors in those. But when you look at Oklahoma, transportation and logistics is also becoming really big. So those are the industry that have emerged during this COVID period. And let's dive a little bit more into Tennessee, as I said before. When you look at automotive sector, electric vehicle manufacturing, so there's a lot of spillover because of gigafactory happening in Austin is happening going into Tennessee also. Healthcare and life sciences is also pretty big there. So rubber and ceramics and glass. That's another big one in Tennessee, and there's a lot of German companies and from throughout the world have established their headquarters there. And interestingly, I will be in Tennessee end of this week. There is a Southern Legislative Conference happening in Nashville, Tennessee, where you have local, provincial, and federal people all come together with businesses to develop policies in the southern states in our region. So I will be meeting with quite a few folks in there, and not only the business side, but also on the political side too. Now, taxes. I'll dive a little bit more information about taxes because that's our headquarters, that's where we are, and there's a reason why we are here. Taxes is, from our 8 states, is the biggest trade and investment and bilateral trade with Ontario. It's about $17.5 billion Canadian on a yearly basis with taxes. Polymer industry and auto industry, 100% is really big in here. As I said, Tesla is opening their gigafactory in Austin. Toyota is already here, and they're also looking to connect an autonomous vehicle. But when we look at what's happening within the US and the companies coming from California and New York, Hewlett-Packard has announced that they are moving their headquarters to Texas. And Oracle has made a decision to move their headquarters to Texas. Charles Schwab Financial Company has opened up their big offices in here and also in Florida. So I'll dive a little bit more into that, into like 4 cities that I will talk a little bit more in details, if you permit me, because this was really an important state. When you look at Austin, Austin has become an IT town. It is really becoming booming with IT. Companies coming in from California and also from within. But it's a short distance from Austin is San Antonio. As you know, the Brampton is also becoming a hub for cybersecurity. So there is a lot, and Austin has become a really hub for cybersecurity. A couple of reasons why. It's the biggest military presence in San Antonio. And the second thing, their health sector is really big there. And I've been approached just recently by UTSA, University of Texas in San Antonio, to have some cross connections between the universities here in Ontario. So we'll be reaching out soon to them. So, and we will be hosting a cybersecurity event with San Antonio at the end of September. If anyone of the companies would like to get more information, we're definitely happy to provide that. When you look at Dallas, Dallas has become a hub for aviation and aerospace because of you have American Airlines headquarters here, Southwest has a headquarters in here, and when you look at Houston, NASA, So it is really, especially for OEMs, is really becoming a big kind of connectivity on aviation and aerospace side. But when you look at Houston, Houston was considered as still considered as oil, gas, and energy, but it's also emerging in two sectors. One sector is life sciences, because of Texas Medical Center. That is, I think, in the top 5 in the US, is huge in the life sciences side of it. The second thing that is happening is the clean tech side. And so they are becoming really big in that, and especially in oil and gas, carbon capture technologies that coming in. So those kind of things that are really changing the landscape in here. I think that in the next 2 years, taxes will shift a little bit from oil, gas, and energy. It will still stay a major force, but into the technology side, because the companies that are moving in here, when you look at the Biden administration has also looking to meet their targets, gas emission targets, that are also really promoting electric vehicles and battery operations. So taxes have become really a key state for us. Not only their economy, size of the economy, but also changing sectors in there. Yeah, so if you need more information, I can provide you with that information, sure, on that. So let's look at the business landscape. So a lot of time, I can tell you that the companies coming from the US, they want to do a partnership, they want to do collaboration, they want to invest in Ontario. The question that always happens is, why Ontario? So what's happening in Ontario, and why we should be do partnership, why should be collaboration, why we move to Ontario? And so that is really become a key part for us to tell the story about Ontario also as well. As you know, the Ontario is economic engine for Canada. We represent about 40% of the population. Not only that, the 40% of the Canadian GDP. And we are the 7th largest subnational economy in North America. But access to the market, this is where the key things that happen for us. And that's why we say collaborate and partnership with Ontario companies. And so Canadian companies is free trade deals with 50 countries. What does that mean? A lot of time people ask, I say, well, listen, in that scenario, you have an access to over 1.5 billion more consumers than you have otherwise. So that tells a lot of, speaks volume about Canada, about Ontario, how we are interconnected throughout the world. But look at our daily two-way trade between Ontario and US. It's $1 billion Canadian. That's about 2018 figures. 2019, at least almost the same. But what does that mean? That we are close to about $400 billion trade with the US. So if we always say, if Ontario were a country, we will be the 3rd largest trading partner with the US. So that's the resiliency of Ontario. So there's so much to speak about it, and this is a lot of time the companies do ask us, why do we want to collaborate? Why we want to partnership? So what does Ontario has? So this is really, really a good part. Last one I would definitely will touch the people. The strength of Ontario is also its people. We have welcomed people from more than 150 countries. We speak more than 200 languages. I said, if you want to go to United Nations, go to Toronto and go to GDA, you will see the UN right there. So it's an amazing talent that we have throughout the world, and that's what the connectivity is happening. But we also growing market, especially from Ontario. We have about 142 million consumers within the age drive to Toronto. This is what we say: if you establish a partnership and collaboration or establish a business in Ontario, this is you're not that far away from home as well. And then you also have, especially for Ontario companies, this is exactly what the numbers look like. This is how much that we have exposure to the marketplace in here. As I mentioned, we have the global trade with 50 countries. This is almost like, they have combined GDP of 67 trillion in Canadians and 52 trillion in USD throughout the world. And this is the story that we tell, that if you are in partnership or a collaboration or invest in Ontario, this is what you get as a consumer, and this is really a huge buying power that you're exposed to the marketplace. Just a little bit, I will dive, this elephant in the room is COVID. That's what we're talking about it, and to see where the things are. When you look at the trend in the total trucks entering or re-entering Ontario from US per month, when you look at it, the number has significantly gone down. And but having said all of that, Gary, we talked about before that the supply chain. Supply chain throughout the COVID was still robust. Still, we didn't have food shortages and stuff like that. Like the manufacturing was still going on. That doesn't mean to say that it's not broken. There's a huge things that after we emerge out of the COVID together, to reestablish those, the supply chain will be the key part of it. When you look at the tourists that are coming in into Ontario, it's almost like, with the borders are closed, nobody is coming in. So this is going to be a challenge. So where it stands, it seems like our last, the borders are closed until 21st of July. So we will wait till then just to see how does, what does happen then? Will the borders will open, and in what capacity that will happen? Especially in the Texas that I can tell you right now, everything is open. Like if you're fully vaccinated, CDC guidelines are, if you are together, you don't have to wear a mask. And that doesn't mean that if I get into a cab or Uber or, I don't have to. They still require you to wear a mask. And airlines are also still trying to wear a mask. And a lot of there's talk coming about immunity passport or vaccine passport, we would say. Texas and Florida has already said, no, they will not accept it. They will not demand it. They will not, they have already issued some of, through the legislation, that it'll be illegal to do that. Just in the case, because why I'm saying this, because a lot of time, like every state and every jurisdictions have different policies. And so just in the case, if some states do, some states don't, we need to know where we're going and what the restrictions are. But one thing I tell you, that if you're coming from Canada into US, you don't have to quarantine. You don't have to, whether you are vaccinated or unvaccinated. When I came in October, I didn't have to quarantine. So that was a difference between both the jurisdictions. But certain states did ask that to do that. So I just want to touch a little bit on the COVID side of it. And for us, as a new office, it was difficult because our all meetings, 99% were all virtual. And it just started about a couple of months ago, about 2 months ago, when I got fully vaccinated to start traveling. And so that's my first conference will be in Southern Legislative Conference. That's happening this week. That will be one first major conference that's happening face to face. So if you need, sorry. Yeah, if you need more information on this, we can always provide you more information on this, on the COVID side, on the vaccination side, and what the states are looking into, so that when you're coming and entering in Canada, so that it's US, so that you know what you're dealing with. We always say that in Ontario, we are connected throughout the world. Our Pearson International Airport is one of the largest in North America, and not only that, our borders also, especially Ontario, we have 14 border crossing with the US. So this is the transportation and logistics, and the company doing business. Is the ease of doing business with Ontario. That's what we always highlight. So I just want to dive in a little bit. This is my coming near to the end of my presentation, so I will happy to take any questions if there are any. These are some of the conferences that are happening. I know some of them have asked that if keep us informed if there is an events or conferences happening in our region. So these are some of the conferences happening. Offshore technology that's happening on clean tech on the IT side is in Houston next month. I will be attending that, and in Louisiana, that's about the solar panels, wind energy, smart cities, and Move America is about connected and autonomous vehicle mobility. That's happening in September, and the Advanced and Composite and Advanced Material Expo. And last one I would emphasize is Florida International Trade and Cultural Expo. That's really a great, if you can attend that, that would be a great one. Because why I say that? Because Florida is gateway to Latin America also as well. So there's a lot of companies coming in from Latin America and will be part of that. So when I was in Florida, so I was invited to present, and we will be attending that this conference is really a vitally important conference. And if you want, if any businesses or any audience want more information, Todd, please let us know through you. Then we'll be happy to provide that information and what are the services are. And they are looking forward to this. So these are some of them. There are also for next year we will have a little bit more information. If there is any other we will share that information with you. Then you can share with your members as going forward, Todd.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a key part of it. As the economy is open, face-to-face conversation cannot replace the virtual one, I tell you. So this will be really a key part for us, and we can give you more information. Lastly, I will say from my side, we work with 3 consulate offices. So one is in Dallas, Texas. We are co-located. Another consulate that we work with is Florida. Susan Harper, Consul General, is fantastic, really great. The trade commissioners there. And the third Consul General that we work with is Consul General from Atlanta. So our 8 states come under 3 Consul General's regions. So in the case if we needed to Atlanta region, also definitely please don't hesitate to reach out. But also a reminder that Ontario has offices in Chicago. We have offices in San Francisco. We have office in New York. We have an office in Washington, D.C. So if there is any connectivity, any business or any members, Todd, if you're looking to connecting with any one of those offices, please do let me know. We're here to serve, and Ontario, especially through those service offices, we help businesses. So so that's about it, and. That's my email there. If there is any information that you want to, and please don't hesitate to share, to do that. And
Jog, thank you so much, and for providing your email there as well. I do see a question in the chat, and I do want to open it up to everyone's questions. But thank you for that. And if you have a question, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. Thank you for that overview. I mean, your small team of 4 people are covering huge areas, 8 states. Thanks for diving into that for us and telling us about Austin and Dallas and Houston, Huntsville, Alabama, the opportunities by sector there, the clean tech opportunities. Thanks also for letting us know about events where Ontario companies, Brampton companies can connect. We'll look forward to the Cyber One at the end of September. You're a great ambassador for our province, and it's always good to remind us of this good story that we have to tell about Ontario and our people. Appreciated your thoughts on the trends in the business environment. And yeah, your link to the federal government in America, the consulates, the 3 trade consul generals there, as well as Ontario's offices in Chicago, San Francisco, New York, and Washington. What a great overview. Really, really do appreciate that. I see one question, and it's from Bob Hornablow, BSC Solutions, providing IT solutions for local companies. And his question is about controlled goods manufacturer certification. Is there an Ontario controlled goods manufacturers or consultants? Bob and his business, there's a lot of US companies that do subcontract to Ontario companies to supply defense contracts, etc. And Bob, maybe you have a more detailed question, but it's in the chat there. And Bob was just wondering, I think, if there's a directory and how his company might be able to get on it.
Definitely. Thanks, Todd. Thanks for the questions. What you can do is if I can ask the ministry to provide all the information. One thing I didn't mention that, also definitely we are a very small team. What we have the ministry that is, the support and systems that are available for us. Not only that, we have sector-specific people in the ministry that we can answer if there is a sector-specific questions. So definitely, if you can elaborate a little bit more in detail, send me a quick email, and I will connect with the ministry, and so we can get you the right answer.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you, Jog. Kirk, I know that you are close to new business in the States. Gary, you're doing a push as well. Any other questions for Jog?
Yeah, question. It's Kirk here. Question for you. The Buy American Act, it seems to have quieted down with Trump not in power as much anymore. It seems more political than it is. We talk to our customers and they don't seem to have a problem, but can you give us, what's your feeling these days with the Buy American?
Kirk, that's an excellent question. Sorry I didn't touch on that. And part of my another hat that I wear multiple hats is also advocacy work, Kirk, in here. Not only on the Buy American, but also softwood lumber and a couple of other things that we foresee that is happening. That Biden administration has revived the Buy American policies, and they have. It's before the Congress right now. And we watch very closely. I'll give you an example. The Texas state legislation has passed, again, the Buy American policies here. So it hasn't been made into law yet. I think it's going to the 3rd reading, if I'm not mistaken. So we watch very closely, and it hasn't amplified a lot that, okay, this is what this is what's going to happen. But what we are also looking at, if the federal infrastructure fund coming from the Biden administration transferred to the state governments, are they coming with any strings attached, right? So and so especially on the steel and the manufacturing side on those. So we're watching that 100%, Kirk. I think it hasn't been amplified as much as that we thought, but that doesn't mean that it's quite down, it's died down, because there are certain states starts to revamp and redo the Buy American policies, and especially, as I said, in Texas, as they have. And to me, when I met with Secretary of Commerce in Texas, I did raise that. So we are the best friend and your strongest ally, and your strong neighbor. And these policies, kind of in the business related, in the business environment, what we want is open and transparent procurement. And just to tell you that Ontario we are pursuing SIPAs, SIPA, so Strategic Investment Procurement Agreements. So these are subnational agreements between the state to state, so that there is an open and transparent procurement on both sides of the border. So that was my message was to Secretary of Commerce here in Texas, and the same message that I convey to the Secretary of Commerce in Florida also as well. And this is kind of messaging, Kirk, is also happening when I'm also in Tennessee, because we were meeting quite a lot of federal and local people also as well, just to make sure that we are on top of it. That's a part of our advocacy work, and there's quite a few other things that are happening, but I'm not able to say much, but we are watching very closely all of these things.
Very good, Jacques. Thank you for that, and very good workaround on the CPAs. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. Gary, I don't know if you had a question. I know Jayesh, Badr, and Teresa has an important question as well.
No, I'm good. It's
Jayesh, you want to add an observation?
Yes. Good morning, Jag. It's great to connect with you again, and good morning, folks. It's an amazing morning with loads of information and excitement brewing up as the market opens up. And just for others, a quick introduction. So I represent as Senior Advisor for Investment Attraction with the City of Brampton's Economic Development Department. And of course, as Jag and team, you've been so fabulous in terms of providing that insight, that support, the kind of traction that we connect in terms of generating the leads. So I very much look into Texas and New Jersey as my forte, and I totally resonate with Jag's insight that it's a great opportunity to connect with some of the institutions, some of the leads, and of course, Invest Ontario and Trade Commissioner Services has been phenomenal in their support. So Jag, I would definitely have an offline chat with you for sure, but just to help and get all of us involved, as mayor-led FDI mission is expected in the fall, specifically towards the second and third week of October, and we would be actually covering a typical kind of a virtual FDI mission within Austin, Texas, and New Jersey. So there are quite a few important events that we are planning in terms of a roundtable meetings and
great.
Connecting with new prospects. So this would be an opportunity to connect with you.
That's good, Jayesh. Yeah, fantastic. That's good. And virtual meetings are good with Austin, but in real life is even better. You have to stay at the Driscoll Hotel, and some great music there as well. Badr, before I start with you, I see a question from Teresa from Vision Transportation. I'm wondering if you could allow me to take that one first. It's picking up on something that Jag has said earlier. Jag, you spoke about U.S. companies working with Canadian companies and leveraging the free trade agreements that Canada has. Do you have an example of this, or would it require the setting up of a joint venture?
Yeah, definitely. There's quite a few things that are happening, especially on the tech side, also on the logistics side also as well. And so give you an example, as I said, the supply chain that was very robust during the COVID times. So a lot of companies that when the US companies are looking into Ontario, especially into Canada, they're looking at, as I said, the talent. They're looking at the company, but also the economy on the side also. So those are the kind of things, the dialogues that happen. What we usually do is, give you an example, if the company approaches us, it's, listen, we are looking into, let's suppose, give you an example, there was a company that reached out to us on Robo-Eats. They are in robotics kitchen. So they said, we are in that, this ecosystem. And so what we did was we connect with them with quite a lot of food and beverage sectors here. So then we let two of the companies, carry on the conversations because, another thing that I can tell you, there is a company right here in Texas. They have signed some manufacturing agreements in Ontario, especially on the COVID-19 related, because their products claims to kill 99% of airborne COVID bacteria into HVAC sector. So, and they have patent technology, which is being implemented here in Texas also. So we have connected them. And then the mutual agreement between the business to business or how they want to proceed. So we connect the businesses, and then the business to business decisions are made between the businesses. We don't get involved.
Very good. Yeah, thank you, Jag, for that. And those connections, those meetings, and the sharing of that information is very helpful for whatever decision Brampton company might make. And Teresa, I apologize for misidentifying you. I know you're doing some great research on helping Ontario companies to export, but not with Vision Transportation. I'm misidentified. I apologize for that. Badr, the ambassador of Brampton, meet the Ontario Agent General. I know you know each other many times, but go ahead, sir. It's good to see you today.
Todd's always very generous with that topic, but in all honesty, when you work as a global equity manager, that ambassador to the whole world thing comes naturally. Jag, I'm going to actually now ask two questions. First one is a bit more generic. Canadian stock exchanges, U.S. stock exchanges, so capital markets in general, are reflecting all-time high valuations. We're seeing very robust activity year to date here in Toronto in terms of companies accessing capital. Last year, they raised over $5.5 billion in new listings. We don't get to see that data very closely when it comes to mergers and acquisitions between Ontario businesses and jurisdictions you cover. What sort of appetite are you seeing, as money is available at very low cost, as well as because of the high valuations to businesses, there are profits to be taken? What sort of appetite are you seeing for mergers and acquisitions in the private equity space between Ontario companies and companies in US? And then I'll ask a follow-up question later.
That's a good question, but there's quite a bit that's happening, especially on merger and acquisitions here, especially within the US, though, because the border is not being opened. A lot of companies can't go back and forth kind of thing. Have caught up few executives that are waiting to go to Ontario to talk to the people, to the companies, and they want to acquire and then invest in. So in the virtual world, it takes a little longer. But especially when during the COVID, what happened when the economy slowed down a little bit, all gas and energy, the money was surplus that was sitting around. It went into a lot of merger and acquisitions, and we are seeing huge growth in merger and acquisitions, especially in Texas. Not only that, the venture capital fund, they're hungry for new ventures, and we did a few Ontario companies in here, especially on the life sciences side of it. One was a research and development into cancer detections. And PPE. So there is quite a bit that is happening, but it's kind of slowed down on the cross-border side because of the border closures.
Yeah, due diligence becomes a bit difficult in the private equity space, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So follow-up question. I just saw, so I'm putting on my, Todd, I'm putting on my hat as a director for Canada-Turkey Business Council for a second. I just saw a massive listing for the first Turkish online retailer, Hepsi Burada, on NASDAQ just last week. They raised over close to $500 million, $4 billion company, right? It's an e-commerce company. And just like Amazon has a big presence in Turkey, by the way. Companies like these are perfectly positioned to facilitate multilateral trade and not just bilateral trade. So on the Canada-Turkey Business Council side, we're very, very closely in touch with the American Chamber of Commerce in Turkey. Our American cousins are very well represented, especially in the technology continuum, from Microsoft to, as I said, Amazon to Google to Facebook. Everybody has a very robust presence in Turkey. What sort of appetite is there at the provincial level to facilitate some technology-related interactions between stakeholders in Ontario, in US, and in Turkey?
Good questions, brother. There's huge appetite, right? When you look at, there's quite a few companies, when you look at Kitchener-Waterloo, that's just come in. Flair, if I'm not mistaken, that comes to my mind. Arctic Wolf and cybersecurity. On e-commerce side, there's a few other ones that have come up Kitchener-Waterloo side. That valuation, Flair, is about, if I'm not mistaken, $9 to $11 billion. That's their valuation, actually. That's just a small company in the last 3 to 4 years that happened. Universally, yes, there is a lot of appetite, but we have to make a business case, right? So, and I'll happy to talk more in detail on that, and I can definitely will direct with the ministry side, brother, if we have specific something in mind. I think it's a great opportunity. That's our job is, and we are quite a few ones that as the borders open, they are waiting to get into Ontario and to talk their due diligence. It's a great question. There is 100% full cooperation from the government side. And as I said, Invest Ontario Fund has about 400 million seed money to help the companies to attract FDI into Ontario. So that will be a great opportunity. And this fund just established a couple of months ago, so still, developing the policies and things. But once it's up and running, I'll let you know. But if there is any specific, please don't hesitate to connect with me. I'll connect with the ministry, and then we can all jump on a call.
Well, that's great, Jag. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for the questions, Badr. Hopefully this is the start of conversations. I see Kirk's finger is up. Do you have another question?
Sure. One more question. One of our challenges is, and this is more personal directly from Brandon Steel, is the weight of steel, very heavy. So shipping, logistics, and of course, the further south you're shipping, the more costs go up. So, just curious, what recommendations? I mean, and it's hard to get trucks these days. We all hear the trucking issues in the trucking industry. So, once again, I'm all for selling to the south, but all of a sudden a truck that cost me $1,500 to $2,000 to get into the northern states is now $4,000 to $5,000, and your road restrictions are 45,000 pounds. So I'm trying to overcome some of these roadblocks sometimes, Jag, and it is transportation is one of our killers. So
I totally, I agree with that, Kirk, and especially, with the shortage of the drivers and the trucking industry, it is causing a lot of impact in here also as well. When I was in Florida, the challenge that I heard was there is no truck parking. So a lot of truckers don't want to go. They are parking on the side of the road, and the police is giving them tickets. He said, well, listen, you can't park it like that. So they are, there is roadblocks sometimes to transportation and delivery. So yes, Florida has a lot of ports and stuff like that. As being a free trade zone, you can supply them things there, and then carry on from there onwards. But it depends on which state you're supplying to, right? So it's in Laredo, pretty close to there is a port close to Mexico also as well. So I can give you more information, Kirk, on that if you just can be a quick email just to see what we can do. And it will depend upon your jurisdiction where you will be, supplying to. I would say that the closest one will be the ports that will be the key part of it. But then again, you have to transfer from there to the destination. So that's another part of logistics. So, but I would definitely be happy to give you more information on that. I'll connect with the ministry to see what other things we can do for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great. Are there any other questions? I'm noticing we're at the top of the hour. I have a couple important announcements. If there aren't any other questions, I'll get right to them. Again, let's let this be the beginning of a conversation. We're happy to share Jog's information and yours with him if you want follow-up conversations. Very, very good discussion here today. Thank you, Jog, for that. Jog's email is now in our chat as well. We talked today focused specifically on the United States opportunities. Next month, we're getting together with our trade network. Again, we usually get together bi-monthly, but lots of trade information now that restrictions are opening, pandemics, we can see the tunnel at the end of the pandemic. And one of our speakers next month, August 24th at 8 a.m. is Akiko Onozuka, who is the head of public affairs with the Expo 2020 Dubai. I know it's 2021, but not unlike the Euro Cup finals, Expo 2020 got delayed. This is an amazing event for you to really test the waters from every different country in the world. It's in Dubai. It's starts in October, goes until the spring, I believe, or maybe it's full year. I know that I have earmarked to go in November to tie it in with the World Chambers Federation meeting. I can tell you more about that as well. But on August 24th, Akiko will be with us and will be outlining opportunities for Canadian companies in Dubai. She is with the Consulate General of Canada in Dubai. And so mark that in your calendars for October 24th. We also have another guest speaker that same day, and His Excellency Abdul Hameed, Consul General for Pakistan, and Azhar Husain will be talking about Pakistan's trade potential and connecting Pakistan businesses with key business sectors here in Brampton, the investment opportunities between Pakistan and Brampton. So hopefully you can join us for that. Some very practical information being shared there. Other events that are coming up, we like to connect businesses, connect you with people, connect you with suppliers, customers, programs. And we do that through something called our open door discussions. So noon next week, July 15th, we have our open door discussions where we talk about challenges you may have, opportunities you want to capture, and it's a nice small group meeting. And hopefully you can make us for that. August 15th is a deadline. August 15th is a deadline for top 40 under 40. I want you to think about individuals in your company, those stars, rising stars, emerging leaders. Think about your customers or suppliers, young people under 40 that are really making a difference, going the extra yard. Let us know. We have an online application. We'll put that in the chat room for you. But the deadline is, August 16th is what I see here. Please let folks know this is a wonderful program, very inspirational to see the upcoming leaders. Speaking about upcoming leaders, I wanted to introduce three people on today's call that you may not have met yet. Kevin Draper is a new staff person with the Brampton Board of Trade. He is bringing some tremendous value for our local companies in a government relations role. He's our manager of government relations and strategic communications. He will be working closely with me on the relevant issues that are impacting you at the municipal or regional level, at the provincial or the federal level. So Kevin, welcome to the Brampton Board of Trade. Maybe you could put your email in the chat. I also want to introduce you to Jennifer Oldham. Jennifer is our manager of community operations. We have so many different communities, be it the trade community, be it the business development community, a women's network called Connect Work. Many different communities are within our business community. And Jennifer has the big job of coordinating network meetings like this and expert series, insights, all of our signature events as well. Jennifer, welcome. We're so happy that you're here today. You know, we started this meeting, some of you weren't on the call, and Bader expressed congratulations to Lorraine Denardis Asenza. I thought it was for something else. He was congratulating her on Forza Azzurri's win yesterday, heading to the finals of the Euro Cup with who we don't know, Denmark or England. We'll find out about 5 o'clock this afternoon. But I thought he was congratulating her on her new opportunity. This is the last meeting that Lorraine will be with us. And she has been just a wonderful resource for Brampton businesses in the trade network and in many other aspects. She's managed our certificate of origin service. And she is moving on to Ontario's Ministry of Infrastructure. So I just wanted to let everybody know that and thank Lorraine for her great service. And we look forward to staying in touch with her in her new role. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for announcements and kudos and congratulations. I see some happy clapping by Crystal and others. Are there any other points to bring up? Questions, comments, smart remarks for the good of the meeting?
Yeah, I will make a smart remark. We hosted the mayor of Fort Lauderdale and Tampa here in Brampton 6 years ago, had a very robust engagement with them, with the corporate presence, both from the Canadian side and Floridian side. Jack, there's a bad habit of dropping very good business contacts and business conversations just because of political changes. Whatever you're doing, let's make sure that it doesn't happen again. You know, I hate to see dialogues like that don't go anywhere, and we don't get to show the success that the business community can generate as a result of this dialogue. So just make sure that BBOT stays involved, and we have an opportunity to build linkages with private sector. Just because there's a political change down the road, you know, I hope conservatives stay in power forever, but let's face it, that's not how things work. You know, political cycles tend to be short-term. Business development activity tends to be longer-term in nature. So let's make sure private sector stays engaged in whatever you're doing, and we have an opportunity to build on it from a longer-term perspective.
Definitely, brother. I think you touched a really good point. Part of for me, and we're also looking into city to city sister alliance agreements, and we had already approached Alabama, Tennessee, and some cities, and also from Florida also as well. So 100%, I think that's the way the connectivity happens. But to your point, it doesn't have to stay on the paper, and it has to be a robust kind of a trade and exchange and business to business meetings. There is a lot of appetite there, and we can dive into a little more discussion. That's the part of it. We're also doing, as you know, that Austin and City of Toronto has a music sister city alliance agreement. So we are trying to replicate those agreements also, and that will be part of some of the city mayors when I'm meeting with discussion on that. Great point.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Doug. Thank you everyone for your attendance. What a wonderful meeting. A great cross-section of companies, some excellent questions. I know Bob's put his email in there as well. Beware ransomware, hacks, attacks. Bob is going to do an expert series with us a little later this summer, talking about how we can avoid hacks and attacks. And certainly that is a cross-border issue as well. So thank you for everyone today. Thank you, Jog. And we look forward to continuing this conversation. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We'll see you again.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Paresh. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Bye, Todd. Excellent dialogue.